Well, welcome again to another session of the 15th annual Transforming the Teaching and Learning Environment virtual conference. I'm Bob Hales. I'm your moderator. Our session now is using simulated experiences. How do you train? And we are fortunate to have with us some folks from St. Leo University, Dr. Lionel Thomas Jr., Dr. LaQuay Thornton Perkins, and Emily Kachansky. And Emily, did I pronounce that right?
You certainly did.
All right. Beyond that, I'll let you all share your background and get things started. So it's all yours.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Dr. LaQuay Perkins. I'm an assistant professor of project management with St. Leo University. I teach project management, logistics, management, and business courses. Dr. Thomas?
My name is Dr. Lionel Thomas. I'm in the International Hospitality Hotel and Event Management program. I also teach in the project management area as well. And yeah.
And I am Emily Kochansky. I am the lead simulation specialist with the simulation program here at St. Leo University. And just as to not spoil any surprises, you will be seeing me a little bit later.
All right. So I guess we go ahead and get started. Are you sharing the PowerPoint real quick?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Setting up of the simulated experience. Dr. Thomas?
I don't see the PowerPoint. I'm sorry.
You can talk through the slide though.
Yes, but I don't actually see the PowerPoint.
Can everybody?
Are you,
I can see it.
Okay.
what am I doing wrong? Hold on. One
I
second.
can too. I can see it.
Dr. Thomas, you're on mute.
All right, getting back to the Zoom thing. All right, so first up, thank you all for joining us. Before we get started, I want everybody to try to take a second and think of all of the different types of interactions you might want one of your students to have with a professional in any kind of industry or any kind of situation that you might want them to act out. Because in doing so, you can kind of get an idea of the range that is available of things that you can actually do for this type of experience. So for instance, some of the things that I've done in the past to provide this experience for students, we've done initial client meetings for event planning. We've done dealing with hostile clients or hostile customers and guest service. We've done other things such as giving them the opportunity to reprimand an employee. So we give them all of these different types of experiences that allow them the opportunity to practice the things that they'll be doing when they get out in the industry. All right. And in order for this to happen, we have to make sure that there's a lot of communication between the professor and the simulation specialist. So in doing so, that means that we have to fill out a sheet wherein we have to tell a sim specialist how we're going to prepare the student. All right. We also have to tell them what role they're going to be playing in the simulation experience. So for instance, if we want the student to get the experience of reprimanding a key employee, we tell the sim specialist, look, we start this off with a case study so they have the background in regards to what the whole situation is about. We tell them which snapshot we want to take from that experience to for the students to kind of mimic or to get the practice with. And then we have to kind of help the sim specialist understand what environment they're going to practice the environment in. We're going to have them talk about what the hits and misses are. So what are the objectives what does it look like if the student does what what we want them to do? What happens if they do it? And then what happens if they don't? So it's one of those things where once we finish having this communication, we might even say, all right, well, let's try to do a trial run right quick to make sure that, you know, we got all of the different kinks worked out, and so that we can make sure that the student gets that the exact experience we want them to have. And one of the good things about it is, even if the student doesn't do a great job or whatnot, you see that you get the opportunity to help them grow in the experience. You get the opportunity to help them understand, all right, well, if I'm in this situation, what are the things that we can do, can't do, should do, shouldn't do, and as far as the best practices thing, all right? And in order to make this experience happen, there's some technology that you need to have, like cameras in the room, so that the student can actually see the avatar. So you need the television cameras, that kind of thing, to make sure that the student can actually see the sim specialist. And if there's a group thing, then you can actually have it to where the group is presenting too. So next slide. And I still can't see the PowerPoint, I'm sorry.
So it
So
talks
which
about
slide is this one?
the communicating the scenario sheet.
All right, so yeah, so I kind of talked about the scenario sheet already. Are you showing the scenario sheet right now?
I'm gonna pull it up while you
So
talk.
Yeah, so again, with the scenario sheet, we have to tell the SIM specialist exactly how we're preparing the student. We actually provide the SIM specialist with that information as well, so that they have a more well-rounded idea of what's going on with the situation too, because again, they probably have like 10 different professors doing different scenarios. So we want to make sure that they can zero in on exactly what we need to make sure that the student gets what they need to get out of this scenario. So again, that's everything from the environment that they're going to be practicing in, the objectives, what hits and misses for the objectives look like. So in other words, what does the SIM specialist do if if the student does it right? What does the SIM specialist do if the student doesn't do it correctly? And then, yeah, so if you look at this sheet and you can scroll down a little bit for me real quick. And yeah, so you see the objectives are up top. And then what we do here at the bottom is we break down those, keep going down. Scroll a little bit more. And so as after we talk about what the avatar is gonna, what the
Sounds like he
needs
having
to make sure that
problems
they focus
with
on.
his
Then we talk
connection.
about the hits and misses and let them know what things we specifically want them to focus on for the experience.
You kind of went out. Your
You can
connection
go to
was
the next
bad.
slide.
Your connection was bad for a second. Can you just repeat the last thing that you said?
I apologize. So what I was saying is, if you look at this sheet, this is part of that communication that we have with the SIM specialist, where we kind of map out how meeting these objectives looks. So for the student, we give them this to say, all right, if this is really for the SIM specialist, but we say, all right, if you hit the objective the right way, this is what the reaction of the SIM specialist will be. If you miss, then this will be the reaction of the SIM specialist. And it kind of really is an opportunity to make sure that the students get on their toes, and allows the SIM specialist to have a little fun too for students who may or may not be as prepared as they should be. But Emily is always so nice. So she doesn't really get. And at the end, you also get the opportunity of having the SIM. You could actually do the debrief, or the SIM specialist can help you do the debrief. That's kind of up to you. I know me personally, I like to do my debrief in the following class or whatnot. But like I said, you have a couple of different options in how that works. I know one time I had to go to a conference, and the SIM specialist was able to handle the whole thing for me. So that was nice. Next slide, please.
Hello, I need to speak.
And now I can see the slides. Still spinning. Is that me? All right. So what you see now is the experience that I'm about to I'll give you the background for it so that you can see what one of these experiences looks like. So in this case, we have a situation where we have that's kind of a big annoyance for the people who actually are staying at the hotel, because the parking is always limited, or parking is always a problem. And implement a policy wherein parking is decal, then you would get towed. Or one person, one individual who's a lawyer that has probably only used the facility just to have like a couple like drinks with some of the his clients or whatnot, and he has not actually stayed at the hotel, but he parks there and goes on a European vacation. Right. Well, during his European vacation, they attempt to try to get him, try to get his attention somehow, but they don't get to him, and the car gets towed. Car gets towed, then the car gets taken to the pound, and after the car gets taken to the pound, it actually gets sold at auction, right? Because it had been there for over a month. In this situation, we created a situation where the students have to interact with the customer as they come back from the trip, and they have to try to make sure they have to do their best to try to explain to this customer what's happened to their vehicle and what the options are available. And in this case, we kind of try to tell them what they can and can't do, what they should and shouldn't say, and then we see how they react to being in that pressure situation. And you can go ahead and push play.
Dr. Perkins, you're muted and we can't see
Why
or hear the video.
Have a quiet situation to discuss this. It should be.
Okay. Hold on. Can you hear it now?
You have
Yes.
my keys, and my vehicle has been in this lot, so I just need to collect my car and find out where it was put.
Yeah, of course. Let me get a front.
You need to unmute Dr. Perkins. There we go.
All right. So I see that you are not a registered guest here. Is that correct?
Correct. At this time, I was not staying here. I have an office just up the street, and in the past, I've always worked with the general manager, as I frequently use your bar area and conference rooms when I have meetings. And so I've left my car here and used the shuttle to get to the airport.
Okay, not a problem. So I did speak with our front desk agent, and we would like you to tell us your side of the story. How long has your car been parked here?
Oh, well, it's probably going on about 6 weeks now. As I mentioned, I have been overseas for the last several weeks, and I went ahead and did as I usually do. I spoke with the guys over in the valet area. I left them my keys. I left them contact information in my name, and took the shuttle.
Not a problem. Can I have your last name, please?
Sure, it is Gretson, Gretson.
Awesome. All right, Mr. Gretson. So I see we did have a new policy that has happened within the last 60 days. So the parking is now going to be $3. And unfortunately, guests that are not staying here, they're not going to have their required parking permit. So what that means is that your car will be towed. And in this case, that has happened.
Wait, I'm sorry. I thought we were just talking about paying for parking, which is understandable even. And I am happy to pay for parking and today and in the future. But you're saying that my car has been towed? You do understand it is a Lexus LC convertible. 2018. It is a brand new convertible that barely has 5,000 miles on it. So tell me where my car is.
Yes, of course. So I completely apologize for this inconvenience, and I can only imagine your frustrations. But because this policy was in place for 30 days, we had no way of contacting you since you are not a registered guest. The towing company did take your car and it has been sold in auction, unfortunately.
What are you? Explain to me how in the span of 6 weeks, your company has chosen to implement a new policy, which I don't even disagree with, if you want to know the truth. But you implemented a new policy and then go ahead and without any leniency or grace period, just decide to go ahead and sell someone's car, even though you had the keys. All you had to do was move it if it was in your way, or contact me via email. How hard could that have possibly been? But instead, you took a car and basically stole it from me. Do you mind telling me exactly who has the money from my car? Because that is over $25,000 that I would like to see right here. If that's the case, go ahead, show it to me.
So, Mr. Gregson, what happened is that we did try to contact you, but we didn't have your email, we didn't have your phone number because you were not a registered guest.
I understand that I wasn't a guest at this time, but I have in the past used these facilities on many occasions. So don't even. And if there was a change in policy, I can understand that. But why it wasn't brought up when I left the car here and when you had the keys and all you had to do was email me.
Mr. Gregson, I spoke to my front desk agent, John, here. We are trying to explain that while you were gone within those 60 days, 30 days ago, we had the policy change. From there, we were not able to contact you because you were not in our property management system. So I understand that you would want us to email you. We have tried, but we didn't have that information.
Just take a moment. Does this honestly seem fair to you that 30 days, just 30 days, you go ahead and you know that your lot, this is, by the way, a hotel. So you have plenty of people who are staying here, who have left their vehicles here, registered or not, who would have been, their vehicles are still out there, probably without parking permits. So tell me, why is it just my car that ends up getting towed? And how did you, in heaven's name, did you decide that 30 days was a time when you could not only implement a new plan, but without any leniency or grace period, you're going to go ahead and start towing cars and then you go ahead and sell them? Oh, I have no words. I cannot possibly express. You do understand that I am attorney, that my offices are right up the street.
And I apologize for this situation. I really do. And I completely understand your frustrations. I do have a few numbers that I can give you to contact. Would that be okay? I have the contact number to the towing
And
company.
after traveling for
Mhm.
over 18 hours, would a few numbers be enough for you?
Yes, that's what I'm asking you. Would you like some numbers to the towing company and to our corporate office?
This is unbelievable. Not only would I like to have the numbers for the towing company and the corporate office, I would appreciate the number for the local police to report
Of
a
course.
theft.
Not a problem. And then on my end, I'm also going to be creating a report as well. And I will be contacting corporate too. So the towing number is 863-834-9535. And then our corporate number is 863-797-5253. And again, my name is Jean Stanton, and Mr. Gretzen, I completely apologize for what has happened here. But again, with policy and everything, this is what has happened. And please go ahead and contact the towing company and our corporate office. They will be in contact with you between 2 to 3 weeks.
Fine. Thank you for your assistance. Good day.
So one of the things I'd like to add about this situation, one of the things we kind of made sure that we adjusted in this was to tell the student that, you know, the last thing that you really need to mention is the fact that the car was towed after you talk about the new policy, et cetera. What happened after that part is on somebody else. So this is one of those opportunities where once the situation happens and you get to see the student in action, you get to kind of, you know, tailor the comments that you have for each student to their specific experience. And if you wanted to, you could even schedule a meeting afterwards to talk to each individual student. So it's a bunch of different ways that you can help debrief these situations, but a couple of comments like right afterwards go a long way. And then you can do the whole class kind of thing afterwards.
Emily?
All right, now comes the fun part. I would love to have a volunteer from the audience if anyone would like to participate in a live interaction with one of our avatars. Do I have any volunteers? I promise it will not be as scary as the video you just saw.
I bet Megan would love to do it.
If I can keep my video off, I'll do it.
Sure, okay. All right, so just a quick little background. Let's say you are, just to keep it in the same vein here, you are the manager at a hotel and a gentleman has just come down to your front desk.
Okay.
Hi there. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. Well, okay, actually, not okay. I just checked in about 15 minutes ago, and I went up to my room, and it's freezing cold up there, and I tried fiddling with the thermostat, and it doesn't seem to be working. Could you, by any chance, send somebody up to take a look at the thermostat, or maybe I need a new room?
Yeah, I'd be happy to send someone up in a few minutes. What's your room number?
Oh, thank you so much. I am in 306.
Wonderful. I will send someone up in a few minutes and they will knock on your door to let you know that they've arrived.
Great, thank you so much. Well, actually, would it be too much trouble if I sat down here by the fireplace just to get a little warm, and maybe I mean, you could let me know once they've gotten to my room, I could meet them up there?
That would be fine. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
There we go. Pretty quick and painless, right?
Sure.
You did a good job. And trust me, they're not all that quick and painless.
That was
like I
pretty
said.
easy.
Yeah, I was going to say, like I said, for a first timer, I thought I'd take it easy on you. Thank you so much for volunteering.
You're welcome.
So with that being said, we just wanted to share with you some of the highlights from the interactions that we've had. So Brianna stated this was the greatest takeaway, being able to think quickly and act quickly to avatars. So it gives her the experience of prior to actually engaging in maybe a hostile situation or maybe even a positive situation before she would normally have to. Brianna, excuse me, Madison said, I think the interaction was very helpful than if it was done in the classroom. I felt like they could take it more seriously because it wasn't someone that they knew. So actually interacting with the avatar was beneficial to her as well. And also Jaden stated that it was a great practice for me to improve the communication skills while under pressure. Normally, Emily can become that irate customer that she did not become today. So it gives students the ability to interact in different ways in different environments. And we also can use this in project management, like the courses that I teach, or logistics. So our students can interact with vendors, suppliers, and things of that nature, and also with customers as they work on their projects as well. So this was a very great tool. We had positive reviews. Of course, there are many others that could have been added, but these are some of the ones we wanted to highlight.
And just to jump in one more time, one of the things that, because me and Emily just did one this morning with my guest service class, one of the things that we realized, well, the lodging class, one of the things that we realized is the students who took the guest service class and did the 4 different experiences, when they did the one today, they did an awesome job. And we even have some international students who you can definitely tell have benefited from it too. So just wanted to add that.
Okay, so as we've already kind of touched on throughout this presentation, some of the benefits and advantages of using simulations are it allows for a more realistic, non-rehearsed role playing for students' education. So it's pitting them in that real world situation they can expect to face out on the job once they've graduated. And this is giving them that chance to practice. So, and here in this environment, they can make the mistakes and learn from them so they'll be ready in the real world on the job. So mistakes become teachable moments and when made in a controlled environment. And when it's in a controlled environment, there are no real repercussions and they have the chance to get feedback from their professors and their peers. And I saw a really interesting question in the chat. This can also be used to train employees who are already on the job. So once again, it can be used, they get those the feedback from their supervisors and their peers. So scenarios are easily rewritable and can be adapted to suit any area of study or career field. I know today we focus primarily on the hospitality industry, but at St. Leo, we have students using these in the fields of education, social work, business and marketing, criminal justice, journalism and communications, medical humanities. The only limit is your imagination to the different scenarios you can create and put your students or employees into. And then facing real world experiences with opportunity for instructor and peer feedback. As I said, when say you are in a job interview and you are just stumbling over your words, you're not answering the interviewer's questions, your college professor isn't going to be standing behind you and saying, okay, how could you fix that? How could you rephrase that? This is your opportunity to get that practice and perfect yourself now. Next slide, please. So, and as Lionel had touched on, the simulations actually really allow for some renewed or increased confidence. I worked with his students this morning in their simulations, and many of them I have seen in his other courses. And I have noticed a drastic difference in how they present themselves from one year to the next, just by using these simulations alone. They truly do grow, whether they realize it or not. The improvement is very obvious. So the simulated experiences provide an active learning tool component for students to develop power skills. So communication, problem solving, creativity. Because if you couldn't already tell, these scenarios, when we're asking you to design one with the simulation specialist, you're not writing an entire script verbatim. You're giving the basic outline of the situation, and then myself, the simulation specialist, improvises based on what the student says and does. So it happens like an actual conversation. So both myself, but the learner, the student, the employee, they have to think on their feet. They have to know how to solve this problem that's being put to them that maybe they weren't expecting. They have to know how to communicate and present themselves. Avatar technology and pedagogy allow faculty in multiple disciplines to implement a cost-effective and innovative classroom tool. This has been proven effective for so many students. We have nothing but positive feedback from students and faculty in all areas of study here at the university. We are even partnering with 4 outside universities, and they're enjoying it as well. We've gotten some incredible feedback from their students that we work with a couple times a semester. And students may be initially intimidated, but our student feedback and debriefing, as I just stated, has been truly positive. These students are really seeing a difference in their education. We've had several students who maybe are graduate students that are coming back to school saying, man, I wish I'd had this sooner. Next slide, please. So these are just some of the different examples of environments that we have specifically in the hospitality setting. But as I said, we have hundreds of environments in different areas of study. There are hospitals and doctors' offices. There are conference rooms and boardrooms with multiple avatars in them at once. There are classrooms with preschool all the way through high school children. There are counselors' offices. There are even in-home environments like kitchens, living rooms, to make it. We even have an environment that is a disheveled household that is used in a lot of social work cases. And we have avatars of varying ages, genders, and ethnicities as well. Next slide. There we go. So to set up immersion on your campus or at your business, you can book a session. To learn more information, please visit the website listed here, simulation.stleo.edu, and I will be happy to put that in the chat in a moment. There you can learn more about how the program works, see some example videos and more images of different avatars and environments, and even examples of scenarios. To partner with St. Leo University and make use of their simulation services, you can contact me, Emily Kochansky, and my email address is there. I will also put that in the chat if anyone is interested. Or you may also visit that website. There is a page to schedule a session. But if you are an outside party who might be interested in bringing this to your university or to your business to potentially train employees or staff, I would suggest an email to myself first. Thank you very much.
And one thing I'll add is that even the students you think are the most disinterested students that you have in your classroom, they actually even appreciate doing these experiences. That's one of the things that I found really surprising.
Yeah, I would think that would be true. A lot of students who are shy speaking up in class or doing, some kind of role play in front of other students would really feel far more comfortable doing the simulations.
Does anybody have any questions?
How long have you been using simulations?
That is a great question. I have been working here as a simulation specialist for 4 years now. They were partnering with the company who creates the software called Immersion for, I want to say, another 3 to 4 years before I came along. The university eventually purchased their own license to use the software as they see fit from Mersion and hired a simulation specialist, myself, in-house. And by purchasing the license and the freedom to use this company's software as the university could benefit from it, that has given us the liberty to do more for our own faculty. And also, Merchant has a very specific way of how they interact with their clients. It's kind of like, these are the scenarios we have. This is what we can offer you based on what you are asking for. This sounds like the closest thing to what you want. But by getting to have free reign over the software ourselves, it allows us to collaborate more with interested parties to really learn more, like, okay, this is what you want out of it, so let me design this to make sure you are getting everything you want to show your students or your employees. It gives the customer uh, more say in what they're getting as well.
And I'll say that I've been using the immersion experiences for about 4 years, and it actually really kind of put some energy into one of my classes that I thought was probably one of the driest things in the world. So now it's one of those things where people kind of look forward to the immersion experiences. Like, you'll even hear them talking about, oh, which class do you have next? And if it's one of the ones with the immersion experience, that'll be the thing that they talk about more so because they get that good nervous energy. So that's another thing I'll add.
So I have a question about how many times a week or month, or how often do you use this in your classes?
So for me,
3 times a semester, every week?
So I have them do 4 experiences during the semester. So I have them do one after about week 7 or week 8, and they'll do one about week 10 or so, and then they'll do 2 the last couple of weeks of the semester. And it's based on the case studies that I present to them, but it also gives them the opportunity to do different types of experiences. Now, the amount of students you have in your class might have a impact on how many times you do it, because some of my classes have up to 18 people, and I try to make sure that they do them during class time and not outside of class. It just depends on how you want to handle yours. So sometimes it'll take a whole week of classes, but I'll give them another assignment to do during that week to fill in the rest of the class periods. Because they probably, if I take up a whole week, that means that they really only have 10 minutes of the experience during that week. So they'll have like discussion boards and other stuff that.
Thanks.
So, Emily, you're the one who used the software to create the simulations, right?
Yes, I don't create the avatars themselves. That is all, all the software is manufactured and upgraded by the company that created it, Mersion. But when it comes to designing the specific simulations that our faculty are requesting of us, I will go in based on what they've asked for or what kind of scenario this is, and I'll pick the avatars. I'll pick the environment. And I'll give them the options as well. I'll tell them, okay, for what you are asking for, this environment sounds like it may be, or I have these environments, which one looks best to you? Here's the avatars I have available. Which of those look the best to you? And when it comes to creating the scenario itself, the backstory, the situation that the participants are going to find themselves facing, that is created in collaboration between the faculty member that's asking for them and myself. We can work on writing one together. And as I said, it's not a full-blown script. It's just a basic outline. Here's the situation. Here's the challenge. Here's a little bit about the avatar or avatars the learner will be interacting with. Here's their backstory. This is why they're here. And the rest is for me and the student to roll with, to make it a real real-time dialogue. So there's so much improvising that goes into that because you don't rehearse a conversation with your friend or your boss or family member before you've had it. Any other questions?
Right. Yeah. Do you know roughly, very roughly, how much the license, software license is?
I do not. That would actually be a question for my supervisor or to contact Mersion directly themselves.
Yeah. Okay. It was like most vendors, so they would probably a cost per student, per, enrolled student, perhaps.
Right. I do know Mersion charges, certain amounts for certain times. Like if you wanted to contact them and set up a scenario or a simulation for, whomever, they have set rates, set time frames. But like I said, they control a little bit more what kind of scenario you're going to get. They will take into consideration what you're asking for and pretty much pick the best thing they believe they have for you. If you were to partner with a university like myself who has purchased the license and can therefore market their services out, we charge a little bit less, but that also gives the person who has purchased these more free reign over the scenarios they're asking for, more collaboration. So that way you're definitely getting what you're asking for.
Is there anything, well, have you bumped into any, I know, difficulties, things you would have liked to do, but you're limited somewhat?
Right. Not really, thankfully. Um, I would say some of the things that are limiting, and this is, immersion issue because once again, they created the software, they design it, they're the ones making all of the improvements. So sometimes there might be limited things like physical gestures that the avatars could do. For example, in a classroom of 5 children, if the teacher is calling for them to stand up and line up at the door to go to lunch, they cannot stand up and leave the room. So it could be sometimes limited to small little details like that.
Yeah, I can see a lot of applications for this. For example, counseling situations. You can help a client uh, deal with a person that, they're having a problem with.
Absolutely. Absolutely, we can. And if anybody here found this interesting and would like to know more, we are always happy to schedule a demonstration so you can see more of the environments, more of the avatars. You can ask more questions. Please feel free to do that after browsing our website or by reaching out to me if you think this is something you'd like to explore further. Always happy to do that.
I have another question, and that is, would you mind sharing the design template? Is that possible or not? I've Googled and there are lots of them out there. I'm just curious about how one works for the people who have used it before.
Right, right. Yes, I believe we can do that. Dr. Perkins, I think, would you be able to post that document in the chat?
Which one?
The scenario
The-
design template?
Sure.
Thanks.
If not, I might have a copy here on
I put
my
it in there.
computer. Oh, okay, perfect. Oh, I see it. Perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
Well,
Any-
any other questions? Well, I see none. So I want to thank Emily, Lionel, and LaQuay for doing this. This is interesting. Seems like it's relatively easy to develop some simulations with this. Wow. So I think you've given us some ideas.
That's what we hoped.
Thank
Hey,
you.
where is St. Leo located? Florida?
Yes.
Oh, must be nice today.
Actually, I think it's a little chilly. Or it was.
And what's considered chilly?
I think this morning when I woke up, it was 52 degrees. It's
Oh.
probably already up it's already up to 77 according to my weather app. So
Well, I'm jealous. So, at any rate, I appreciate the three of you doing this for us. Have a great rest of the day.